Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of Midweek Matters. We're joined today by Charlie White and of course Cheese, Brandon Smith. We've got the rundown, but there's only really one place to start, isn't there?
Where would you like to start, James? You tell us.
Well, we've got Ben Hunt on the agenda, Illias on the agenda, Reece Robson,
Yeah.
Ryles, the international game. But someone was late today.
I was late. I'm sorry about it.
For all the crap that you have given me when I had a misjudgment of the time in Queensland.
Yeah. Well, big misjudgment. An hour late. I was 5 minutes late. So let's just let the record show 5 minutes late. 13 minutes, 5 minutes. We don't need to get into the semantics of exact times, but you were an hour late. So it's a bit different there, mate. I was actually in a meeting and 3:15 was me people pleasing. I should have said 3:30 in the first place.
Don't be a people pleaser.
Oh, you did say 3:30 to me.
I did initially, didn't I?
You changed it to 3:15.
Yeah, exactly, for him.
Yeah.
So am I even late?
Well, I mean, look, the moral of the story is, or was I hard on you? Did I say no? I just let it ride. But I'm airing it out on here because you did. But you know what? I was like, mate, don't worry about it. We'll just crack on. We've got each other.
I've got something to air as well, actually, for airing stuff.
We're all a team. We're
I've got something to air as well.
At the buy-around.
That's
So,
good.
I didn't need to. I'm not gonna lambaste him, but like you did to me.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So,
I've actually got something to air as well, Cheese. So this morning, Jimmy and I jumped on a call with the drink Fizz. Fizz, the seltzer, Fisher's seltzer brand. Great seltzer with Wade and Joel.
Hard fizz or just fizz?
Hard fizz, it's a great drink.
Both.
Got a bit of both. It's a great drink. And so I jump on the call. Jimmy jumps on the call. He comes on shirtless for a meeting with a potential partner of the show. You came on shirtless.
But that's the thing. I actually think that's a great marketing ploy.
It was a good icebreaker.
But fizz is known for a party drink.
Yep.
You're hot. You got your shirt off. You're by the pool. You're drinking a fizz. You're not going inside in the fire and and drinking a hard fizz.
That's a fair point you make.
Although you could,
Yeah.
but it's not the vibe.
No, and initially though, can I just say something?
Continue.
He had his laptop turned up so you could just see his head, like in Futurama, we got the heads floating.
That is true.
Yeah.
Did the meeting go well, do you think?
I thought they were great fellas.
Yeah. Do you think that we made a positive impression?
Potentially.
Is that what matters?
Yeah.
Making a positive
I
impression?
think we might have made a positive impression.
I think we did.
Yeah.
Just conforming. What do you want me on, a suit and tie?
No, well, speaking of
Come on, granddad. Like suit and tie. Like
I think they say fear the man that's not dressed for the occasion, because that man he's done the hard work to do the I don't give a fuck what I wear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's why the Atlassian guy.
Mark Cuban doesn't wear. When he goes to meetings, he just wears his daggies. He doesn't rock up because he's got the fuck you money.
Yeah.
It's like you're here to listen to me.
I don't have the FU money. Maybe it's dress for the job that you want, not the job you have.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So why would that be shirtless?
Oh, think about that, Charlie.
Porn star.
The reason I didn't have a shirt on is because I'd been to the gym, I'd come home, and I was in the office, which we have sectioned air conditioning, which is great.
Fancy.
It's not fancy. It's just is what it was when I bought the house.
It's obviously not your section.
So in the office, and the cleaners were in, and so I couldn't move the laptop into the living room. So I had to stay in the office, and it was hot. And you know what? Take initiative. I'm not a big fan of people in extreme situations that can't go out of the social norms. I'm not big on social conformity.
Yeah.
Like the fire alarm story that Josh Hodgson told. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'm going out because the fire alarm's going off. I'm in a hot office. I'm sweating. Does it benefit anybody to see me in a shirt stinking hot? Absolutely not. So you just take it off.
Yeah.
I don't understand the problem that I've been in many situations where you need to either walk away or change because that's what the situation calls for. It was 35 degrees today.
And the cleaners were in. And it was tough, It's a tough
what
life
if you
to
were
live.
going to court? It was a very hot day in court. You're just going to rock up no shirt? The social tell the judge. I don't believe in social conformities.
Bounce in your singlet. But it happened once we did. I think it was like the 2015 or 16 like season launch, and people. It was like insanely hot. We were in this marquee tent. I couldn't believe the length of some of the speeches. Like I was there as captain of the Bulldogs, and you know when everyone in the room is just like not paying attention anyway, but some people can't just go, I've recognised everyone's hot. Hey, it's going to be a great season. Let's get out of here. But no.
Was it the start of this year where we did a game? We did the game for Triple M shirtless, and then some Gordy was in his undies and stuff. Was that this year? Or was that 2 years ago?
I think it was in Belmore.
Yeah, it was like 35 degrees. We all did the game shirtless.
Yeah,
it was necessary.
It was, and today's meeting called for, and I even tried to hide me and you were on the call first. You were early for a change, and I did try and do it like that, and then they mentioned it, and then you had to spill the beans. I could have just said, "Oh, my camera's a bit messed up."
Well, I said it actually. I was like, "Why don't you turn your camera down a bit, Jimmy?"
Yeah. So if it had been messed up, it was because of you.
Okay, cool. Thanks for coming here in a shirt, though. Appreciate that, mate. Appreciate that, because these bright lights and your bright skin.
This is a podcast, though.
That's true. You could wear shirtless. Maybe you should be shirtless.
Also, look, I'd just like to put
Were
it
you
out.
pantsless?
No.
See, because we wouldn't know, but just you can be honest.
I do Zoom calls all the time, pantsless. Like all the time.
With a shirt on or not?
Well, shirt on, pants off.
Why?
Because it's hot. Like, mate, that's the right order. You should be like in your undies because no one can see it.
Oh, you mean, yeah, okay. When you said pantsless.
No, not Winnie the Pooh style t-shirt.
Right.
Like,
oh, Charlie.
With the old
I think I'm gonna have to ask for some sort of regulated check. That can be like
Winnie the Pooh is t-shirt, no bottoms. Because if you look at him, he's got a t-shirt on and no bottoms.
It is a strange. I wonder when they invented Winnie the Pooh, like whose idea that was, and what on earth was going on.
And what was going on with the name, Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh. Let's stick a red t-shirt on him.
No, just add a H at the end. It'll make it all good.
Yeah. I just would like to point out, because a lot of our listeners, they're all suffering from the heat, and you know, it's one of them. People go, "Oh, I'm really hot." And it's like, yeah, no one else is. But look, I am disproportionately affected, being fair-skinned and ginger. So for as bad as most people are feeling, it is even worse for me. So.
That's right.
Oh, look, it's cried me a river. Jesus Christ. Someone called a wambulance. Oh, you're looking for pity there. That's what you asked.
I'm just putting it out there.
Because I'm ginger and white.
No, because I know listeners.
And my cleaners were in the living room, so I couldn't sit there.
Yeah.
Like,
mate, the hardest life I've got.
Yeah. I know the listeners will be like, well, we were all hot, mate. Like, crack on with it, but it's different being ginger.
I tell you where it's also hot. It's hot up in Brisbane. And it's very hot for Ben Hunt now as well.
Jeez, Charlie, that is a great segue. That is a great segue.
Thanks, mate.
It's actually storming in Brisbane at the moment. So.
2-year deal with the Broncos. He's heading up there. Obviously, it looks like he's going to start in the halves, with Mann probably being suspended for the first maybe half of the year, we think. Good signing, though, for the Broncos, Cheese?
Yeah, I think it's a great signing. I mean, it depends whether he wants to, I guess, put his ego aside, or not his ego, or like his preferred position aside, because there is a spot at hooker there. I think Billy Walters is still there, but there's a spot where there could be a transition from someone going in at half and him going to hooker, and whether he wants to do that or not, I don't think Madge really cares, to be honest. I think Madge wants his team to be the best team it can be on the day, and if that means Ben Hunt spends a little bit of time at hooker, I think Madge will have to tell him that, but I think they would have promised him differently to get the signature. But yeah, I think it's a great signing. Where does it leave Reynolds? I don't know, and how long there's a lot of variables. How long the suspension is with Mann, but what do you reckon, Jimmy?
I think on the surface, it's a great signing for the Broncos to have a player of Ben Hunt's capability on 600k. Like, what was he scheduled to be on at the Dragons? Like
900, I think. Yeah.
So to get him for 2/3 of his price, I think it's a great bit of business by the Broncos. Ben is a quality player. He was part of the Kangaroos team, part of the Queensland team, so he's going to bring quality. But then the question is, where does he fit into the jigsaw, and how does that upset the players that are currently part of that jigsaw? Because you can't fit them all in. You really can't. And I think, like you say, well, if you look at the Broncos 2024 campaign, Ezra Mam form was down based off 2023, and Adam Reynolds, unfortunately, body and injury couldn't get him onto the field. So with Ezra's likely decent suspension plus Reynolds' injury, he might play a sort of a bit of 6, a bit of 7. But if Maguire's hope is everybody's fit and everybody's eligible to play, then where does that jigsaw fit? Where does that jigsaw come together to please everybody within the spine with enough game time? And let's not forget their best player and their most dangerous player, Reece Walsh. How do they get the ball to the edges to utilise the likes of Staggs, Cobbo? And I'm saying all this, and I still think that the Broncos' biggest issue is dealing with the mental demons of how that grand final unfolded in 2023. So you've brought Ben Hunt into the mixer. I thought the Broncos didn't look like a team that were connected and there for one another last year. So can Ben help that? Potentially, yes. But is that going to create more fractions later down the line? And you know what everybody's saying? He'll partner Reynolds, then Ezra comes back. Well, in all likelihood, it'd be hard to see Reynolds play all year and be fit. If Ben plays 7 and plays really well, then what happens?
I think their best team, though, Ben Hunt's going to be a hooker. When we get to week 1 of finals, everyone's fit. That's where Ben Hunt's going to play.
Yeah.
Just back to what you said about Ben Hunt helping the group if it is fractured. Like, I speak to a lot of guys who have played with Ben Hunt, and he is that kind of player that, is sort of wants to get in, get out. He's not exactly like a huge culture guy. He's a real family man, loves being around his family, loves spending, so that's his number one priority, and that's fine.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. But that's just more, it's not like the Bulldogs where, all the players hang out together, they go get dinners, it builds that culture, that environment. He's more of a keep to himself sort of guy. Do they need that in a leader, or do they need a leader who's going to bring everyone together? And I don't know.
I think if he's serious about his intentions to go into Brisbane and winning a comp, he's signed for 2/3 of what he probably could have got somewhere else, then obviously family is probably going to come first, no matter what situation you're in. But you're going to have to build more of a culture sort of into your style. Like, he's been around the game a long time, and I can understand why he'd want to be in and out and all that stuff, but he's going to have to bring that group together and be the leader that he signed at the Brisbane Broncos to do if he wants any chance at winning a premiership with that team. He needs to be in there, get involved, and that team is fractured. Like you were talking about with the connection. Like, remember 2023, the Broncos, they had a bloody swagger about them. Every try, they celebrated together. Like, they were the bloody, Cristiano Ronaldos to the Messis. They were the flashy sort of swagger, lots of confidence. And this year was just not that team. And I think Ben Hunt's got a big job in those 4 walls outside of, playing the game to bring them back together and show what his intentions are at this club. Like, do you want to win a comp, or do you want to just play football for another 2 years? Like, what's your intentions really?
And Ben would know he's got 2 goes left, and probably Adam Reynolds knows he's got maybe 1 go left. So, like, for those 2 very senior players, they've got 1 or 2 rolls of the dice left.
Yeah,
Reynolds could do it again. He did it in 2014, but what's on the line here? The potential to win a premiership for Brisbane for the first time since 2006. Like, it would be huge. It would be huge. And obviously, look, I think for Maguire, obviously with Ben Hunt, you know what you get. And he's not trying to build his game. He's not trying to develop him. He can help Ben utilise the threats of a guy like Reece Walsh, which he's probably not had at the Dragons, with respect to someone like Sloan. And then, the centre partnership. Obviously, he had a really good connection with Zach Lomax. But then that centre pairing, whichever side of the field Ben plays on, he's going to have Cobbo to go to or Staggs to go to. So he's got to sort of figure out how he maybe pulls back from his running game a little bit to sort of free that up. But it could benefit the Broncos. Maybe when you look at if Ben goes into dummy half, more of a running threat. Then you've got Ezra as a running threat. Reynolds more of a distributor. So look, how this team is balanced out is going to be really interesting. I think it's one of them that, from a coach's point of view, you'd look at it and go, "This is a welcome headache."
Yeah.
I want these problems about who my best 17 is because naturally injuries and suspensions will occur.
Well, because Reynolds is probably he normally only plays about 15 games a year. Like that's probably at this stage of his career, that's probably what we're going to get out of him.
It was 13 last year.
13 last year. Okay, so say he plays 15. Best case scenario, maybe plays 20 games. That's another. If they go deep into finals, it's another 6-7 games where they're going to need someone at halfback. So Ben Hunt might just rotate through a bit.
Yeah.
Like 1 week for the first 6, however long Mam's suspended, he's playing 5'8". Then he's going to be playing hooker. And then maybe when Reynolds is out, he's going to be playing halfback.
Yeah, and that's what he should expect as well. Is if you want to win a comp, you got to listen to what the coach wants to do with you.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really your decision. It's not like I want to go to this club and win a comp. It's my last go at it, but I want to be the 7 but I want to be the 6. You can't play me at 9 like he. And I think he understands that. Like I think he's got a fair, point and. I think he's in a really good place. Even if he plays half, I feel like those outside men, when you're defending Ben Hunt, you're more worried about his run game. So the defensive line's a little bit tighter. So it opens up more space for the people outside him. Although he's going to take that option a few times, it's good for him that he's got Reece Walsh outside him.
Yeah.
But it's also good for Reece Walsh that he's got a running halfback inside him to provide extra space outside. And Ben Hunt's not dumb. He knows when to select the right options. So I feel like it's going to be a good... If he is playing 6 or if he is playing 7, it's going to be good no matter what.
Yeah, I think, just back to the Broncos, if you look at like how most teams operate in terms of like this future salary cap. So we spoke with Matt Cameron around how they're up to 28, 29 in terms of like 2028, 2000.
Yeah, they've got their salary cap sort of mapped out for the next 5-6 years.
That's like a club that is, long-term sustainable success. And I know a lot of other clubs would all have on the retention recruitment boards around who's in for long term, who's a short term, what positions we need to strengthen. Well, the Broncos have gone and signed a spine player who's mid to mid-30s, will be mid to late 30s by the time he finishes, and they've also got Adam Reynolds. So they've got 2 holes there that they've got to fill, 2 veterans in those playmaking areas. So for Maguire, it's a big move for Maguire. This is like a premiership winning move. To go, I'm not too interested in 2027, or 2028. I'm going to squeeze everything out of this group now because they would feel they're in a window. They nearly got it in 23. They fell off the boil in 24. I think in terms of recruitment of quality of player, they ticked the box there with Ben Hunt, play a multitude of positions, covers for Ezra, that suspension, like we said, covers for Reynolds when he's injured, can play hooker. Because obviously as well, like there's a huge elephant in the room of Billy Walters, his dad, has just been sacked. So how's he going to adapt to it? They've got that young Blake Moser. Who
just on Blake Moser, spoke to Jason Demetrio about him sort of halfway through last year, and he's apparently like the best young hooker in Queensland.
So they keep saying, and we've seen glimpses of him, but I mean, it's hard when he comes into that team last year and they were just
dreadful,
not there.
Yeah.
So... But again, all this said, and this is a bit of distraction from what's going on at Brisbane, I still feel at the top of Maguire's to-do list, it's not find where Ben Hunt needs to play, not find what his best halves combination is. It's about getting that team connected together. And Ben Hunt can play a role in that because last year, for me, it looked, when I watched them play, they didn't look connected. You spoke about celebrating tries. Geez, we spoke about it on the buy round and on radio. Carrigan scores his first try when he was at the Gabba, and they come from everywhere. They were jumping on top of him. They play that game against the Dolphins, the decider to try and make the 8. Carrigan scores, and it was like, so what? Like, and Like they were in the fight of their lives.
That's what I mean. They were the flashy team that painted their nails. They were super cool and did all the cool plays and had all the good looking players. And then they just, to this year, it sort of just dropped away. Like they lost their confidence, and that's what I call their swagger. And I think Maguire done the right play with trying to squeeze what you got. Because imagine they didn't get Ben Hunt and they went through like a similar rebuild phase after Adam Reynolds left. Like, they're going to be losing games a lot, and that confidence would be shot. Players would want to leave. So I think he's done the right thing to try to get that short-term success for a long-term of, extended success with the players they've got now that are coming through that are younger.
But again, I can't emphasise that point enough. He's got to figure out how that team can come together. And again, lots of things get blown out of proportion. We speak about the fight, the alleged little push-up between
Carrigan and
Reynolds, two of the leaders. Like, does that happen at football clubs all the time? Absolutely. Can we embellish that in the media? Can we read more into that? Of course. But I still think that there are some demons from that 2023 grand final. And I actually think it got worse as the season went on because A, they started to realise just how hard it was. And B, maybe there was some finger pointing going on. Well, if you'd have, like, we could have been riding high here. We could have, and also the harder last year became, it sort of looked back and you go, well, we wouldn't be in this position if we had won, because I think they realised that that was the reason they weren't playing so well. Hence, if they'd have won that grand final, they'd have played better last year as well.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a chance this year to win the comp. Sorry, next year to win the comp, though, for sure. Like, I reckon they're going to be they should be one of the heavy favourites. I don't know if they are at the moment, but I think they should be.
I think on Ladbrokes they have shortened.
Yeah,
they've shortened.
Yeah,
but which is, I think they shortened when Maguire came in, and now with Ben Hunt coming in, that they've shortened again. So, look, on paper, Charlie, it's a quality roster. It really is.
Yeah, and also that domino's fallen. There's going to be a lot more dominoes to fall and the played movement. One of them that actually broke before Ben Hunt was Lachlan Illias signing with the Dragons. I did a podcast this morning with Michael Chamis, and he called them the worst halves combo in the comp, Illias and Carl Flanagan. I actually think Lachlan Illias is going to bring a lot to the Dragons, and I think he was a bit unlucky last year in a club that was heading the wrong way, and then he was kind of, I guess, a bit of the fall guy, went to reserve grade, got that horrible injury, but we forget how young he is. He's only been playing first grade for a couple of years. I think he's going to be a great signing for the Dragons. What do you reckon, Jimmy?
Yeah, well, I think he's played around 50 games, between 50 and 60 first grade games. I think at times he's been a bit of the scapegoat for Souths. I think the move to the Dragons, he'll benefit from playing with players in that spine that aren't as dominant and demanding of people like Latrell and Walker, because and Cook's there, so he'll have that relationship with Cook. But when we look at how if Cook wanted to go, he'd go, and that's fine. He'll still get the same. I imagine the same with Cook at the Dragons. But then when you've got Latrell and Walker on that left side, and how dangerous they were, then poor old Lachlan Illias is just sort of we could argue making up the numbers at Souths, because Souths were so dominant on that left side of the field, so reliant, and they were their go-to men, and quite understandably, I'm not saying there's anything wrong from that, but I think Illias has shown in patches what he's about. I think when he now moving to the Dragons, he'll have Flanagan's backing, that he'll be his man. He's his number 7. He'll feel love there, and not, again, even this season when they went after Dodd, that was it. Well, it was done. His year was over. Like, he had that magnificent chase back tackle in Las Vegas. Like, that for me brings hope for the Dragons in terms of, is this the worst spine in the competition?
Not a spine, just halves combination.
Sorry,
he said
worst halves combination. That's what I was meaning to say. I think it's more about how that spine come together.
Yep.
Rather than the halves itself. Like, and for a guy, we spoke to Coach Flanagan. He'll love that.
Oh yeah.
Like, he is going to love that, and he's going to tell Kyle, and he's going to tell Lockie, like, this is what they're saying about you. They said the same thing last year. Your favourites for the wooden spoon. He just went, no, they're not. No, we're not, and we will not finish there. And he'll be out to prove a point, will Coach Flanagan.
I think also, if you look at what Shane Flanagan got out of Chad Townsend and the player he made Chad Townsend become, he was sort of, when he came to Sharks, he sort of bounced around a little bit. He started at the Sharks, went over to New Zealand, came back to the Sharks, or started New Zealand, then came to the Sharks, and he got a lot out of him. And maybe Shane Flanagan can have that same impact on Lachlan Illias, who's kind of a similar style of player.
Yeah, well, I think Illias is a quality player, and like you said, he hasn't played many games. And I agree with Jimmy wholeheartedly that that's motivation for them to want to be, prove people wrong and want to be a halves combo that's respectable. And name, like on paper, their names, they don't mean too much in the comp because they're still younger players. But I feel like it reminds me a bit of the Toby Sexton sort of drama that went on this year. And, they signed Toby Sexton and no one had high hopes for him. But the back end of the year, he was one of the best halves in the comp. And that's something that I feel Flanagan and Illias can really feed off. And, it's not to dwell on and what other people say, other journos, and what your name and how many games you've played. Like, you've played 50 NRL games. You're not meant to be the best halves pairing in the game, but to build on it and just become the player that you used to be. Illias is he led that. Last year, I think he was the half. Well, a couple of years ago, I think he was the half when Souths were winning the comp, when they were on top of the table.
Yeah.
And people were quick to forget about that because that last year he had a bad year and had bad performances and stuff like that. But you forget that he was a young half with less than 15 games that had the bunnies on top of the comp. So hopefully he can get back to that form. Hopefully the combination between Illias and Flanagan is the right combination because they're both halfbacks, obviously, and it'll take a bit of time to get used to being not one of them not being the shot caller.
Yeah. So. And that combination you'd already have with Damien Cook. And obviously Damien Cook's spoken to Shane Flanagan and spoken glowingly of Lachlan Illias. Otherwise this deal doesn't get done. So you've got a guy there who's going to back him straight away, a familiar face going to make him feel more comfortable. Then you've got Clint Gutherson, who's one of the best fullbacks of the last 10 years. He's there. It's something. I think it's something for Dragons. I don't think the Dragons are going to be making the 8 next year, but I don't think it's as bad as making it sound like they've got the worst halves combo in the comp. I think that's a bit extreme.
Clint Gutherson strikes me as the culture guy, the way.
Yeah, 100%.
What I read about him and how he told Shane Flanagan, I'm going to show these young guys how to run. Like, for a guy that was injured for most part of the back end of that year, or for the most part of the year, to be fair, just playing on that injury and coming in and telling the coach on day one, I'm going to teach the young fellas how to run. Like, it's such a good signing. I feel like there's a lot more to come from the Dragons. Obviously, I had them in the 8 last year. I thought they were
You did.
If Gutho was a band, he'd be Limp Bizkit last year. He was all over the place. Like, seriously. So for him to come back day one and just...
He won the time trial as well, didn't he? Yeah.
By plenty. I think, just backing a bit serious on Lachlan Illias, I think expectations sometimes, especially on a young player in a key decision-making role, it can get to you. And the expectation itself where we're going to win a premiership. And, we've got this boom spine. We've, post-Wayne Bennett, and then JD comes in. There was so much pressure, so much focus. Like you said, they were top of the table there. And I think he'll have learned a lot, Lachlan Illias, from, I've personally, when I've watched him play, I've seen a lot of positive upside to him. And Charlie, you make an outstanding point. I don't think this move happens if Damien Cook isn't the lead campaigner.
Yeah.
And for him to be part of that, to go into the Dragons as one of the new leaders, he'll have campaigned heavy for this, and they've got their man. Like, they needed a 7. I think if you look at, we've just spoke glowingly about Ben Hunt and the impact of him at the Broncos. I think from the Dragons' point of view, and this is what Coach Flanagan said in the interview with him, is we'll be better this year. And I think without that distraction of Ben, I think with Lockie coming in, on the surface, if I'm picking a team tomorrow, do I want Ben Hunt to play 7 or do I want Lachlan Illias? I go, well, I want Ben Hunt. But that said, I think for the overall picture of the Dragons, I think they're looking in a better position.
And there's also, with the Dragons, they're not going to win the comp this next year.
No.
They're not going to win the comp in the next couple of years. So they've got to build something 5-6 years down the track for them to be competing in a comp. And Ben Hunt, how old is he now? 34, 35. It's like, it's a great move for them. The other player movement thing, it's a bit of an awkward one for you, so sorry to bring it up, Chief. But
you're not. You're not sorry.
I am sorry.
You're not sorry.
Because if you were sorry,
you wouldn't have put it.
And
you wouldn't have put it in here.
It's not a knee-jerk. Oh, I brought that up. It's actually on the rundown. So you've had all this time typing this out to think if you're apologetic, and you just would have rubbed it out.
Well,
and when you give Cheese the rundown, what's all that scribble about? Oh, nothing, man.
My dad said the same thing though. He rang me. He's like, "Sorry, son, I've got to tell you this." He's like, "Why?" He's like, "Roosters trying to sign Reece Robson." I was like, "I don't care. Like, obviously care, but it's like you don't need to say sorry to me about it."
Well, I'm sorry, like your father, mate. I'm sorry.
You're not my father.
He's a great man. I just got to be authentic to everyone listening. That's the great thing about podcasts. You have authentic, real conversations, and Reece Robson heavily linked with the Roosters.
Wait, you didn't have to go heavily linked. You didn't have to. Could have just said heavily, not heavily.
Heavily linked. They're supposedly going after.
You could have just said rumoured.
Okay, well, they're rumoured to be going after.
Heavily linked.
They did apparently withdraw from the Hunt race as well. Don't know.
But so did the Bulldogs, and I wonder how much that withdrawal from the race is knowing you're not gonna like.
Maybe, but also I love how Gus does do that as well. Like rather than like let agents still like mull over things and try and get more money out of the other club. As soon as he knows he's missing about a player, comes out and says we're out of the race. I love it. It's like he controls the narrative for the Dogs. Like it's a great move. Robson linked with the Roosters. The other thing, part of that story,
just back on that. Why would you want to benefit the agent? Because let's say for example,
you don't benefit the agent, is what I said. You benefit
you could potentially
you don't let the agent barter with the price.
Yeah, and go. We've got the.
Why would you not want to be used in that situation? Because if I'm the Bulldogs, right, I'd want to drive up Ben's price, knowing I'm not going to get not wanting him. If I'm out of the race, I'd just go. We're in heavy.
No, but it's like
I'd tell the Broncos we're in heavy for him. We found some more money, so they go. We're going to get more. So I got you.
It's like an auction. If you go to an auction, try to drive the price up, and then the other person you're bidding warring with goes, "Oh, well, we're out there," and you're stuck with it.
No.
You're stuck with this. Just word of mouth. And then you're the dog club that told Ben Hunt you're going to
No. You don't tell. You just say we're like internally. You just say we're out. Yeah, we're done. We're not doing it. But don't tell. You don't need to tell the Broncos. Information is power.
Gus is your boss as well, mate. So I just would, I'll toe the line if I was you.
Toe the line,
brother.
I'll go shirtless to meet with him and say, sorry, mate, I'm a bit hot, and I don't think you should have told anyone.
Yeah. All right, we've avoided the conversation for long enough now.
Get back to Cheese and how the Roosters
Reece Robson allegedly linked to Roosters. And the part of that story as well, like who knows if this is true or not, is that potentially you going to Townsville as well, to North Queensland.
Maybe after pre-season, it's not summer. Holy fuck.
It's an awkward one, obviously, mate.
No, well, I haven't had any talks like that. I don't even think my manager's spoken to anyone at Townsville at all.
Yeah.
There's a few clubs we've spoken to, and Cowboys wasn't one of them. I don't think that option's really come up. And like I said last week, it doesn't really change anything for me at the moment. Like I'm still want to be at the Roosters.
Yep.
Still want to be around Sydney. Still want to be on the Buy Round podcast. Don't want to be in Townsville in this blistering heat.
Well, they were one of the clubs.
To be fair, they can't force me to go there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't change anything for me. I just got to, I'm turning up to training, giving my best to the young fellas. It's obviously we don't get back till December 5th, I think, for the older boys, but a couple of us fellas have gone back early, and my goal for this year is not to re-sign with the Roosters. My goal is to make sure I have the best year with the Roosters I can possibly have, and make sure other clubs, if other clubs are going to sign me, that they know what they're going to get. And that's my goal. I'm fully focused on the Roosters at the moment. Whatever they're trying to sign, whoever they're trying to sign, doesn't really matter. I want to win a comp for the Roosters this year.
Yeah.
And I want to be a part of that, and I want to help the other players notice that and try, I guess, bring the culture that's gone missing from Jared and Luke Carey. And whether they want me gone this year or not is up to them. But at the moment, my sole focus is the Roosters. So.
Geez, just on that, a couple of points is, would you entertain moving for season 2025 if the offer came?
It's hard because the offer, if for me, I feel like if I'm not wanted, you know what I mean, if my skills are not wanted for this year, then it's like then you'd think about it. But with my mind at the moment, I don't want to go into that realm and think about that stuff when I'm trying to put my team at right now. Roosters is my team. I'm trying to put that team first. So until that discussion about me wanting to, if I want to do a swap, until Robbo or someone at the Roosters come and talk to me about that, I'm not entertaining that at all until it becomes a thing. So.
Yeah. Have you got an ideal in terms of when you resign, obviously off contract, but then coming back from an ACL injury? Are you thinking, I want to get back, let my football do the talking, and then I'll show everyone what I'm made of? Or you want that security of, hey, look, you know what you're getting in terms of this test, Kiwi International, won a premiership, you've played at two of the biggest clubs in the NRL, and this is whether or not you re-sign or you don't. Are you looking to secure your future coming back to the field?
I'm not in a rush to secure my future at the moment. I'm not in a rush because obviously I can't re-injure it with the stuff that I'm doing now, but I definitely want to get a deal with my coming future before I'm back playing, because before I'm back playing, if I was to go out and round, I don't know what it is, 15, and redo my ACL and not have or do anything like that, and that's not the mindset I want to have. But if I was to do that, no one's going to sign me until, post when I'm back even running. So
or it knocks hundreds of thousands of dollars off the deal as well.
Bro, no one's going to sign me. Then what are you going to sign me for a season that I'm not going to play? I'll be out for. If I do that again, I'll be out for until what season?
Halfway through the season.
Yeah, pretty much halfway through the season again, and they're not going to pay me until I'm back on my feet. So. I definitely want to get that future done, and hopefully, if I train hard enough and do whatever is expected, and I know they're going for Reece and stuff like that, and I understand it because it's just a business at the end of the day. Man, I don't take it personally. Like Robbo, when he speaks to me, he tells me the honest truth. Yeah, and those conversations are obviously private, but that's what I'd expect from him if he was to sign Reece. I wanted him telling me beforehand.
Yeah. Mate, I think it's so refreshing to hear someone like yourself speak so openly and honest about everything, because this is one of the hardest parts about being a footy player is how public your contract situation is and how year to year you have to talk about your future. And you talk about that leadership and that role. I think you could play that so well. Just interacting with you here, I think you'd add, culturally, you'd be an amazing fit at any club. So, whichever club does end up happening, it might not be the Roosters, but whichever club does end up happening, you're going to do an amazing job, and you're one of the best hookers in the game.
Look at that.
So, we can be nice on this show as well. We don't always have to be horrible to each other.
Thank you, Charlie. Okay? Look at that.
What are you looking at me for?
And that $100 you promised me for saying that, just give it to me after. Apart from playing movement stuff, Jason Ryles at Parramatta, he's got all the boys on the tools. Is that Melbourne? Did you guys have to do that every preseason, or was it just your first year?
It sucks so much, bro. I was like I think I was like a concreter / bricky / carpenter. And it sucked. You still go to training in the morning, and then you go work your full-time job, and then you go and train in the Arvo. And it's not like they cut back the training or anything. It's just a normal training you'd do if you weren't working. But mate, it makes you appreciate what job we have, opposed to carrying a wheelbarrow around for 8 hours is fucking no joke. And I do appreciate everything I've got, and I appreciate that I'm living my dream job. But those boys, they'll understand the gratitude you have towards what we do. We play sport. It's hard. It's hard, but it's not life hard. It's not going to work 9 to 5. Having to support a family like that. We go in and we train hard, we get fit, look good at the beach, get lots of money to do it, and then we can support our family. And it only happens for a short time, but there's people out there that struggle to get ends meet, and they're working concrete jobs and stuff like that, and real hard work. And I know we get lifetime injuries and stuff like that, but mate, you ever seen a brickie's back after 30 years of laying brick? They're just as bad as we are. So, I'm very fortunate, and you sort of learn that at Melbourne when you do that gig, and your body is so much sorer. And then after, I find though that 2 weeks I done at the work program, they called it, that was the hardest training ever. There's like the army camps, I'd eat a 3-day army camp up. If you were to offer me that job one and an army camp, if you tossed up that, there's no chance I'm doing the job one.
Yeah, wow.
You're waking up at 4:30, gym at 5:30, then you're going to work at 8, working to 4, and then doing your training. And then you do that through the whole week, get smashed on Saturday, and then redo it again. And mate, I was sleeping in my car after training. So after the training, I'd go jump in the car and then fall asleep, wake up and drive home and then go back. Because it's that hard. But
mate, it'd be huge for your level of appreciation of what you've got.
Yeah.
Actually, when you're at training, like you can't walk onto the job site and be like, "Hey, have we got massage on Tuesday?
exactly.
Does anyone want to swap?" I'll go late massage. You go early massage. It doesn't work like that, does it? It'd be. I never experienced that, but I can see the designed impact that it would have.
Yeah, it's very memorable. Like I can not sort of remember every day that I worked. That like I worked on a guy named Andrew Blower's house, and it was just all different jobs. I remember we were digging one time, and I hit a pipe. We were building like a path at the back of his house, and it wasn't actually me. It was Justin Olam. We were digging hard out, and I was I was foreman. It was like, "Hey, dig harder!" And mate, he started going and had it, and he just heard this big tunk. It's just
Did he break it?
His pipe was just shoveled the dirt back out. I was like, "Don't worry about that, boys." That'll work out. No, the soil will fix it. But I remember every day, and I enjoyed it with the boys. But sometimes you don't get to work with your best mates on the job site. Sometimes you're by yourself in the roof, or you're out there concreting in the hot sun. Like I was a chippy before I played footy, so I already understood it. But I was not a hard worker. And yeah, just like now that what I do compared to, I was only a apprentice, so it wasn't like hard work, but what I do now is so much better than what it could be.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? You know Jackson Ford, who's that?
Yeah,
Warriors?
yeah.
Right, and he
Good
was
player.
He is a good player. Not the sharpest tool in the shed. He was at the Dragons coming through, and like
he's a Jirragong boy, isn't he?
Yeah, and he was like complaining about like his back, and he goes to the physio. The physio's like, well, like, you know, this week's training, blah, what are you doing in your day off? Can you come in? I said, I'm concreting with my dad. He's like, what? It's like, oh yeah, like I do concreting on my day off. I'll help my dad out. I was like, the physio was just like, well, not anymore. Like in summer, in pre-season, I don't know if it was his dad or a family member, but he was doing it for like a little bit of extra
cash.
Like, and the physio was like, I'm gonna have to like talk to the head of performance about this. And the head of performance went absolutely off his rocker. It was just like, mate, you're a full-time athlete.
Yeah,
like
mate,
you can't be doing.
Radley does it.
Radley does it.
Yeah, mate, you can't do that.
No, but he works for Radley.
Yeah.
Mate, he built his house last year. And every single day off, even after training, he'd just go and work. Yeah. And he had one of the boys working for him because one of the boys is on like 40K. He's like, I'll give you $250 a day, come work.
What a tight ass. Get someone else to do it.
Nah. Oh, mate.
I think he just loves to work, doesn't he?
It's a big house.
Also, mate, do you not remember you interviewed
No, but he
Radley?
loves it.
Yeah, I know he's a bit psychotic.
Yeah, but
he's still
like... Mate, I remember...
a bit is a lot psychotic.
I remember we had like a, get around the fire and like talk about your idols, and like everyone said a rugby league player, and Bradley just said this like random guy he used to work with. He's like, mate, he gave me the best outlook on life. Like even if I wasn't a footy player, like I'd love my life. I've got a good group of mates and I love to work. So it's like I could still be a carpenter. We'll go and have a good life. He's like, and it was just this random guy he worked on the job site with that just gave him such a good outlook on life.
I think he loves to feel like all his energy is being given. Like that's what he said anyway when you interviewed him.
Yeah.
Have you obviously had a lot to do with Jason Ryles. What sort of style of coach is he? Is he like a guy that can tap into people's emotions really well? Is he a tactical kind of guy? What's he going to bring to Parramatta?
Well, it's hard because he wasn't like the main coach, so it's hard to get a gauge.
Yeah.
But he was. I feel like what they'll get from him is the tough, stern coach from the start, because that's like he's a laughable guy, like a real good character, can get along with him real well. Like sends funny videos into the group chats, one of those guys. But then when you're training and if you're not giving in your all, fuck, he just flicks a switch on you, real bad. So I feel like he's not going to come in with that laughable approach straight away. I think he's going to go with the firm, you know.
Well, he seems to have done that, doesn't he? By
yeah, exactly. But the thing is, he's got every bit of knowledge that, you know, the Melbourne Storm and Sydney Roosters defensive structures have. Like, he was the defensive coach at Melbourne for several years. Then he moved to the Roosters. He was a Rooster. So he's going to have a defensive mindset, and it's exactly what Parramatta need because they're not a defensive mindset team.
Should we get into the questions from the fans, Charlie?
We shall. I've got them here. First of all, on Instagram, DSM9977. Can Penrith make it 5 in a row?
Yes. Put simply, absolutely.
I could never ever say no.
Like, you'd... Yeah, of course.
Ryan_S268 wants to know, fellas, who is your most entertaining player to watch in today's game?
Like footy school.
Yeah, like I love watching Keanu Kinney.
Ooh, that's a very good one, bro.
Yeah. Like, I love the little guys.
That's a very good.
Yeah, he just moves so well. And like every play towards the back end of the year, every time he got the ball in space, it felt like he was going to make something happen.
Kind of like...
You must have looked at these questions pre-hand, eh? We're out here trying to answer
Well, mate, to be fair, the reason Keanu Kinney was in my Supercoach team, so I always had to watch him very closely. And, yeah.
I enjoy watching Spencer Leniu coming off the back fence.
Yeah.
I think like, oh, what would they do? How would they manage that? He's impressive to watch.
How would you manage that?
I don't know. You either manage it or you just go kamikaze.
I think the most entertaining player for me over the Origin period was probably Angus Crichton.
Yeah.
It was a man possessed, and it was good to watch. So
yeah, Payne Haas would be up there as well. Like his off the ball movements. Lindsay Collins is another one.
Yeah,
like, I like to watch the front rowers that do those like big effort plays that no one's.
Is that your footy porn? Is it?
Shit off. Yeah.
I got one for each of you because they're both for you guys. So first of all, the Red Vodcast wants to know: would you ever join the coaching staff at the Dragons, Jimmy?
Like
if Flanagan calls you tomorrow,
you can just go and just do it.
Yeah, well, said Flanagan calls you tomorrow and goes, Jimmy, we need you as an assistant coach.
I attempted to join them at one stage. I think now the ship sailed. And
and you got to avoid working with Anthony Griffin on a consistent basis, which could be, I don't know if I could handle his voice every day, going to the office with that voice every day would just kill me.
Well, I'd work with you every day.
That's true,
most
mate.
Days.
That's true. And then
so sometimes you just got to block out the noise.
Yeah, we all make sacrifice in life, don't we?
We all do, Charlie.
Minnow17 wants to know, hey, Cheese, who would win in a boxing match between Trent Robinson and Craig Bellamy?
Ooh. I can't say.
I feel like Bellamy. I feel like that's got Bellamy written all over it. Like he'd win that because he's Robbo in good.
I can't say. I can't.
I'll answer. I reckon
Bellamy because he's Robbo in good shape. It's hard to tell.
Mate, but just climbed base camp of Everest.
Okay, that's pretty impressive. That's pretty crazy.
But then, maybe Robbo.
Bell's got the conditioning trust.
Yeah,
but it's a hard one.
Street fight.
But no,
Bellamy.
No, but it's the thing is, it's Robbo's bloody 30 years younger.
Yeah,
it's going to be a Mike Tyson, Jake Paul effort.
That's true.
Like Bowers has got the scariness and nous, but I reckon if Robbo lands one, she's all over.
I don't reckon
she's all over. He's no longer a coach. That's what I'm thinking.
I'll tell you now. There's not a boxing commission on the planet that would sanction that fight. It's just not going to happen.
I want to see Ricky Stewart versus Bell. That would be a good one.
Wayne Bennett versus Bellamy.
Yeah,
mate. Again, no boxing commission would sanction that.
That's all from us then, folks.
What about like a bare knuckle?
Well, see, bare knuckle, I'm back in Bellamy. If like it's a street fight, Robinson Bellamy, like I just feel like Bellamy just has that killer in him.
Yeah, but the weight, Robbo got the weight difference.
Big fella, but slower then as well. Bellamy's got that speed, just comes in there.
You know, like a walrus, they're fast. Those walruses, when you throw like a fish, you see them like that. It's those fast switching. I'm not calling Robbo a walrus.
It's like a walrus versus what's Bellamy then.
You throw a seal, a fish, mate, he's on it. It's fast moving fit.
Fast twitch fibers.
It's all. Why do they always go to like the boxing match? Why don't they go like who'd win in the game of pool? Who'd win the game of chess? I reckon if rugby league coaches are going to go into like, some footballers do boxing in the off season, I reckon if like there's a person out there looking to like, put a twist, something new, it's a quiet time, get coaches to play chess against each other.
Yeah, but it's like a game of dart. Like I'm not walking into a room and feeling like an alpha dog, wanting to be Van Gerwen. You know what I mean?
No, but
yeah, maybe the dart is a bit extreme, but you know what? I reckon if you want to bring chess into the
Bells is
the
the
21st century or 22nd century, whatever century,
21st,
new millennium, whatever. If you want to modernise chess, get rugby league coaches to play chess against one another.
I actually think this is like a genius idea, and we probably can make a fair bit of money out of it. Is like a rugby league dart night where you have rugby league players going head to head in darts, and you have that same dart environment because like
good to see.
Who gives it like is darts? It's not like what a throw. It's like it's all kind of like meh. You did what you had to do. It's like just get famous people playing darts against each
Kenny
other.
Bromwich is a bloody shark,
At darts.
And Bells is a shark at pool. I remember we have a pool comp every year, and he'd always win it. And I remember we played a game, and it was me against Belzer, and Belzer he was on the black ball, and he hit the black ball, and it come off the table. And mate, he was like, "That's not a fucking loss." It's like, mate, it's a loss. And he didn't let it go for ages. He was like, "Mate, you fucking young guys, you don't know the rules." It's like, mate, that's a foul. It's a loss.
I saw. You know what I ended up watching on YouTube the other day? The Melbourne Storm's ping pong tournament during COVID, which was it was great viewing. If you're on YouTube, check it out.
I set that all up.
Did you?
Quietly,
yeah. Who won it?
Because there was
Nico or
Nico beat Munster.
Yeah.
Mate, we started a betting agent. It was called Rhino Bet. So it was me, Walshy, because Walshy called himself the Rhino.
Yeah.
And we had like these full on odds. Yeah. And the boys would come for, and Munster was like the favourite. And Nico come home and beat him and just got us some heat because Munster should have smashed him. But yeah, it was pretty good.
Good viewing. It's great viewing.
It's just because the whole like. We figured out that we're the ping pong room. You could control all the lights and stuff. And we're like, mate, let's make this an event. Like,
there's literally like 50,
had
60 people watching it.
Bro, we had like a full walk-in entry. Like,
there's
something in that.
No, you know what it is? It's a recipe is just build tension.
Yeah.
Build human interest stories.
Do you know
build profiles and build tension. Like the tension of a ping pong game.
Nah, you know what? I'm gonna level it up. Beer pong. If you invited like 100 people into like footy fans tickets, and you had 2 players from each team in a beer pong comp, mate, it would go off.
And also, beer companies would sponsor that. Like, there's something in that.
So you're not down for my chess idea?
Nah, I'm gonna put
no, bro. I'm not walking over and watching a game of Belzer versus Robbo.
Nah,
we won't. He's gone that with his Duke.
Also,
he's laying the trap. Oh, he's done it on passant. The pawn has gone. The pawn has gone from Coach Robinson. Would you believe it? Here, you could be a commentator.
Danganay commentating. That would be brilliant.
Guests in.
Yeah.
Then we went on a bit of a tangent.
Yeah, staring competition. That would be amazing.
I'd watch a staring competition for sure.
No, not the slap comp. The staring comp. All the head coaches. This is stuff Volandis and Abdo should be. Forget the 100-meter race at half time. Players need their rest. Bring the coaches just a full-on stare off.
I like it.
I'm going to think about a ticketed event for a beer pong.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's enough, Charlie?
That's it, mate. That's it.
All right, we'll catch everyone next week. Thanks for listening.